work hard, work 10, 12, 14-hour days, just so I can support somebody else to sit on their duff. So, you know what? If you're going to be on welfare, if you're going to get any sort of government assistance, I think you should do some public work. It's not, well, you want them to work for free? No, they're not working for free. They're getting a check, or they're getting, government benefits. It's not free. How about we get something back? If we got to, look. I don't know why you think all of a sudden that you need to get something for nothing. Well, I paid my taxes, Rod. I don't care. I'm still paying mine. It's not insurance. Well, unemployment is insurance. Only the original part. Well, this extended to 90. That's not the part of unemployment insurance. I don't know who. Well, Democrats come up with that. But it's. I don't know how else to tell people that it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea to start giving money away from our treasury to people who do not produce anything. It's a bad idea because people are going to get used to it. They're going to like it, and they're going to vote that way. And the death of a democracy, any kind of democracy, I don't care what kind of democracy you got, whether it's a direct democracy or if it's some form of a republic like we have. Once the people fully understand and realize that they can vote themselves a check from the treasury of their nation, that is the end of that nation. We're coming to that point. And look, I hate to say it, we are almost there. We've got 47 to 49% of the people getting some sort of monthly government assistance. What happens when the tipping point comes when it's 51%? When you've got 49% of the people paying the tab and 51% taking. They're not going to want to give up that. They could, hey, they're not paying into it. So they don't care if the 49% who's paying continues to pay or pays more, as long as they get theirs. That's the end of it. Because then it's going to be a slow down. It's going to be like the Soviet Union. They couldn't keep up. They couldn't afford it. This is the danger also of having class warfare. That's a huge danger. I mean, this jealousy notion of look, we've got fewer millionaires today than we did 4 or 5 years ago. But the whole point is that in this nation, you can become wealthy if you put your mind to it and go to work. You can. A lot of people, there's a lot of new money out there today. These people weren't, this money wasn't around in these people's or these families' hands a decade ago or 20 years ago. There's a lot of new money around is what they call the new rich. New money. And there's always been new money. Yeah, there's the old money with, people that inherited it. Nothing wrong with that. But then there's the new money where people actually went out, earned it by working themselves. And even many of those who inherited wealth, they, if they're not just sitting on it and living off of it and being spoiled brats, they're going out and building on it and becoming even wealthier so they can pass it on to their posterity. I have no issues with that either. I have no issues with, trust fund babies. As long, look, their parents earned it. They can do with it. It's theirs. They can do with it as they please. Why is it okay that if I earn $1 million and I have $1 million sitting in my estate when I die, why is it all of a sudden okay for the government to come in and say, well, you know what? 50% of it now belongs to the government. No, I was working for my children, my heirs, my family, whoever I named to be my heir. I was working for them, not the government. I should be able to decide where my estate goes. But the government is deciding pretty much for half of it for me. That's not the way it was intended to be. That's just terrible. It's wrong. You know, the Bible commands us to work hard so that our labors today will benefit our generations, 7 deep. No, what is that? You got your grandchildren. You got your children, and your grandchildren, and then your great grandchildren, and then your great grandchildren. So 7 generations deep. You're supposed to leave a legacy. You know, people want to be remembered. Well, hey, you know what? You want to have some sort of sense of immortality. What's better to be immortal within your family? You know, that 7th generation maybe gets to go to college because of what you did. How about that? Not government, you. That 7th generation gets to go to college because of what you did, and they'll know it. I don't know. How long is a 7th generation? Well, is 140 years or so? Really, it's under 2. Well, let's just max it out. 200 years from now, you know, my posterity is going to go to college. If I do things right, my posterity 200 years from now can go to college, pay for college because of what I did. And they're going to know, oh, my ancestor Rod did this for me. And then if I pass that work ethic down to my kids, well, then that 7th generation, 220 years from now is going to benefit. See how it keeps going? That's how a nation keeps staying strong. You know, this is what the ancient Romans lost sight of. They knew in the beginning what they should be doing. They worked hard. The government didn't take the people for granted. It protected the people, worked for the people. And then as their empire grew and they got a little bit lazy, their government got corrupt. And the government started serving government instead of the people. That's how the Roman Empire fell. And the Roman Empire was around, for 500 some odd years? You know, we're around for, a little over 200 years, and this is what we got going on now. We've got government that is working to support government, not the people. So unless we reverse that trend, if we don't change that, the United States of America is going the way of the ancient Roman Empire. Plain and simple. It's historical. It's fact. Now, I don't know about you, but in this day and age, in this technological age, knowing what I know about world governments and the UN, I don't like the alternative that's out there. If those of you who kind of, some of you liberal idiots out there, you kind of think, well, maybe we need one world government. It'd be like Star Trek. Well, let me tell you something. The UN is the farthest thing from the Star Trek government. The Federation of Planets? That's not the UN. I mean, if you watch Star Trek, which I have, they're about the individual being able to do what they want to do and to advance mankind's scientific knowledge. Well, the UN isn't about all of that. It's not about freedom of choice. We know this. The UN isn't, Star Trek, the Federation is all about peace. Well, we know the UN isn't about peace because they can't keep the peace. You're going to see that tonight on the debate. There's going to be a lot of talk. Well, it's going to be on foreign policy, but there should be a lot of talk about the failure of Obama, one, to keep the United States strong. And yes, I'm going to say this. Other nations should fear the United States. They should utterly shudder at the thought of the United States unleashing its military might upon them. Now, I don't mean that in a bad sense. I don't mean that in a bully sense. But the only thing that keeps other, dictators and bullies at bay and keeps them in check is knowing that somebody else could come along and thwap them. Yes, I said thwap. And no, I'm not advocating that we just go starting or getting into wars all over the planet. That's not the case. Hey, speak softly, carry a big stick, and be willing to use that big stick. You won't have... Look, nobody is going to challenge us if we have the resolve to use the world's most powerful military. Plain and simple. It's peace through strength. That's always been the truth. That's historically the truth. When you know why two nations go to war? Well, they go to war because the nation that starts the war believes that their military is more powerful than their adversary's military, so that's why they go to war against them. Plain and simple. I mean, do you think the Germans went to war because they, we could lose. If we start World War II, we could lose. The Germans thought that they were going to wipe the earth with the West. And the Japanese they knew they were going to rule the East. They knew it. I mean, nobody really wanted to take on, Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. They didn't want to. Because Japan and Germany, they had this air of superiority about them, military superiority. And they ran into a problem. Well, it was called the British Resolve, and then the United States. Look, the reason why Khrushchev backed down in the Cuban Missile Crisis was simply because he didn't think he could beat us. If it came down to actually starting firing bullets and firing missiles, he didn't think he could beat John F. Kennedy and the United States. That's why he backed down. There's no other reason. The reason why we're being attacked all over the place isn't because these people are too stupid to realize that we're just too powerful for them. No, they actually believe because we have weakened our military, we have weakened our resolve, that they can actually defeat us. They think we're weak as a people. We have no backbone and no resolve. And partly that's Bill Clinton is partly to blame. Barack Obama is definitely hugely to blame. I know you people want to go around and say, well, it's George Bush's fault for being such a coward. No, George Bush he did exactly what a strong leader of a strong nation should do. He projected power that said, you want to mess with us, you're going to pay the price. Period. What do we got now? We've got, for the first time in I don't know how many years, a U.S. ambassador killed in the field under this administration because he's projecting weakness, not meekness, weakness. And this is what you're going to see. If Romney's smart, this is what he's going to pounce on during the debate tonight. Look, he's up in the polls. He needs to keep it's conservatism wins every time it's tried. If you are a true conservative and you establish and espouse conservative principles, that's what Americans like.